All right, looks like we're live. Let me just double check, make sure everything's sounding okay on the YouTubes here. Wait for it. All right, all right, sounds all right. All right, so first thing I want to get into, I read some of the comments on the stream I did about Spoonie and e-culture in general, and one of the things Razor Fist kept saying was, well, the a lot of people get on Spoonie for not keeping his word on the Patreon support. I mean, he gave none of the backers any of the perks that he was supposed to, or at least most of the backers. I don't know. Maybe some of them got some of the shit, but he's completely abandoned plans on a Spoonie movie with no explanation. Um, which, frankly, that was a dumb idea from the get go. But at least going out there and admitting, guys, this isn't going to work is kind of required. And Razorfist kept mentioning, like, well, he doesn't owe these people anything. And he doesn't have to, and they could just cancel their support, which most of them did. And I didn't exactly know how to put this into words at the time, but I kind of thought of it. It's like, I think the thing was there, we were sort of speaking two different languages. Razorfist seemed to be talking about what Spoonie was legally obligated to do. This crowdfunding thing is, I don't think that Spoonie has a legal obligation to meet the Patreon goals. I don't know exactly how Patreon works, and somebody in the comments actually brought up or somebody on Twitter, maybe it was or something, brought up the idea of what if people did a class action lawsuit against him, like all the backers that he kind of screwed. I don't know if they'd have grounds or not. This is kind of new territory. But again, I wasn't arguing that he had a legal obligation to keep his word. I was arguing that he had a moral obligation. And I couldn't think of how to put that into words at the time, but the perils of being live and all that. But we were sort of talking two different languages there. I was talking about what he should do, not what he has to do, kind of thing. And what he should do, and I don't know of anyone that could dispute this, is he should keep his word to the best of his abilities. That's what he should do. That's, if indeed he's done making videos, he should say that, that kind of thing. So that, and a lot of commenters in the stream pointed that out, and yeah, that's what he should do. What he absolutely has to do is two different questions. And this blew up in the last. I don't know if I mentioned this on streams. I can't remember if I remembered to mention this Sunday night. Somebody bought an ad on Spoonie's site that was up there for like 2 days. That had said have you seen this person, with a picture of Spoonie looking all strung out? And when you click on it, it took you to Mr. Matoker's video. The funniest reaction I saw, because Spoonie did finally see it, and he had a big old crybaby thread on Twitter about all this negativity. And, and then Linkara was all like, you don't have to tell me that this rando is going to make fun of me on a new video. I don't care. I don't, whatever. Who needs all that negativity? And Linkara sort of stepped into what I would have immediately responded with, the pair of them, you've made your names criticizing other people's work, and now you want to cry about negativity. But Linkara was like, I don't send my negative reviews to creators. Okay, whoopee jack shit. Mr. Matoker didn't send these negative reviews directly to you. Fans of his did. And I guarantee you, Linkara, fans of yours have sent your negative reviews to creators. I guarantee you that's happened. So what the fuck's your point there? Again, and this gets back to all of them, and it's just staggering. The insanely thin skin of some of them that they just can't take the least bit of criticism when they criticize things for a living, and then want to cry some sort of moral foul how can you be so negative? I don't know, Spoonie. I guess if I owe you an apology for being negative, you owe all those fucking video game and movie creators an apology for shitting on their work, don't you? But I don't think you owe them that. I don't owe you that. Nor does Mr. Matoker owe you that. Nor does anybody owe you that for criticizing the public behavior of a public figure. It's been very interesting to watch this unfold, and his next video is going to be on Nostalgia Chick. That should also be interesting. I mean, that chick literally, made a documentary about her fucking abortion. So yeah, that'll be quite interesting to see how that goes. Let's see what else. Oh, I mentioned last night that I was my dad was planning kind of a family trip to New York. He's taking a couple of little cousins up there, and I was going to tag along because what the hell else am I going to do with myself? Unemployed bum. Well, I was kind of looking into. He wants to go see the Intrepid Museum, and then that's not going to take up the whole day. So other stuff. I was looking for other stuff, and the boys would probably really like the Lego store and shit like that. And I was thinking of going to the big toy store. There's the big Toys R Us in Times Square. And there's the FAO Schwarz, where I should say there was. When I looked them up, apparently both those places fucking closed in 2015. The FAO Schwarz was a damn near historical landmark in New York. That's kind of a shame. I tell you what, man, 8 years of Obama really did a number on everything. Let's see. Somebody says it's amazing that a lot of channel awesome folks are SJWs. I can see why they kicked out TJ. You know what? Let's not mince words. TJ's basically a fucking social justice warrior. I mean, TJ's a leftist to the core. He's a fucking socialist. He's a social justice warrior that likes to be rude sometimes. All right. Yeah. Okay. He likes to make sexist jokes sometimes. Whoopee jack shit. TJ is not far removed from them. They probably kicked TJ out because he's just such a shithead. Even they couldn't stand to be around him. It's really amazing that Spoonie still buys in all that bullshit. It's like you were the victim of a social justice warrior witch hunt, and you still fucking sing and dance that tune. That's pathetic. That's fucking cucked. That's cucked something fierce. See. Somebody says, are you going to do any special streams for Jim's That Guy with the Glasses video, or Spoonie a special case? Well, time permitting. I mean, obviously I have a ton of more time right now, which hopefully isn't always going to be the case. Because, this, I appreciate the amount of listenership that I get here, but this channel doesn't pay the bills. The random donations I get, it's not enough to make me not need a job. So as time permits, assuming I'm not working, I would actually like to do a response or kind of an analysis of Lindsay's video. And we'll see. I mean, I'm definitely going to be talking about them as they come by because they're just interesting things to talk about. These streams are always just going to be shit I find interesting is going to be the overarching theme of these streams. I can't stick to one topic. I couldn't stick to politics. I couldn't stick to just pop culture shit. It's always going to be a little bit of both, a little bit of theology, a little whatever. It's always going to be whatever I find interesting. And I have a strong morbid fascination with the rise and fall of the Channel Awesome crowd. So probably I will do a response video to the Lindsay one. That one isn't quite the same as the Spoonie one because the Spoonie one is, as the man once said, betrayal. Let's see. John Steele says in the chat, "Did you see Kathy Griffin's beheads President Trump?" Oh yeah, I saw that. Took this picture of herself holding up a Trump mask that she made look all bloody, like it was his severed head. And I mean, she has just the most soulless look in her eyes. It's disturbing. That said, though, I mean, what do you like? Everybody's talking about it, first of all, but I just find myself thinking, like, what do you even say to this? I mean, the leftists are fucking maniacs. The only thing I could say is it makes me wish that Trump was the monster they imagine him to be. That just quietly one night, Kathy Griffin disappears and spends the rest of her days rotting in Gitmo. I'd be fine with that at this point. But, I mean, there's not a lot you can say, I mean, that's pretty much illegal what the fuck she did. So if I were Trump, I'd throw the weight of the law behind it. You're allowed to criticize the president. You're allowed to say the president is every terrible fucking thing in the world. Hell, you're even allowed to wish he would die. But you're not allowed to even hint around to the idea that you intend to commit any physical violence to any degree. I'm not allowed to say I intend to slap the president. You're not allowed to say that. That's how seriously the safety of the president is taken by the letter of the law. So, yeah, she broke the law. And I hope the Secret Service, I don't know what the appropriate response here. I doubt it's severe enough for jail time, but I hope there's a fine or something along those lines. Let's see. Somebody says, Bechtloff, have you heard of feminists pushing for a new emoji to be put on phones that represents a woman's period? Well, I've often said that most feminist bitching is just the result of them being on the rag. So I guess that's fitting. That seems appropriate. Let's see. The left always makes their boogeymen worse than they are. Well, I mean, Vox Day famously says that SJW is always projected. Frankly, the left always projects. Everything they say is a projection. Was it recently everyone was passing around this picture that Movie Bob literally lives in a basement? Although I think that's an old picture from when he lived with his parents. I'm not sure. But, while he runs around calling every right-wing geek or nerd a basement dweller, it's because they project. They project all the fucking time. It's all they know how to do. I said this on here before, but I'll reiterate because it's worth saying. We all make fun of the conservatives for, Dems are the real racist stuff. The Democrats are the real racist stuff because they're feeding into the Democrat frame, and that's cucky. But they didn't start saying that for nothing. It's kind of fucking true. All right. Your average white liberal thinks far less of black people than your average white nationalist. Your average feminist, especially male feminist, your average male feminist thinks far less of women than, say, Roosh. Racist and misogynist isn't even appropriate. They just hate. They're just fucking hateful. They hate the light. They just hate the light. Let's see. Did I watch Artistic Layman's live stream? What did I think? I have not yet. I've been meaning to, but I have not. Somebody says, I wish I had a red-pilled black friend. Well, you can always hit Black James up on Twitter. Let's see. So he says, the truth is Kathy Griffin is just looking for attention. The artist is the biggest whore. But in Griffin's case, that's true. I mean, what the fuck has she ever done? She's had mediocre B-list supporting roles in like sitcoms and fucking movies. I mean, she is a D-lister by her own fucking admission. And actually, I will give credit where credit's due. She's had a few, I don't even know if you call them stand-up specials, but basically stand-up specials where the whole fucking idea is her just telling stories of her being on kind of the outskirts of Hollywood. And they're moderately amusing shit. But she is just a fucking horrifying person. I mean, that the look in her eyes in that, I don't know what the hell creates that kind of look. Whether or not maybe she just looked so dead inside because even she knew, well, man, I am fucking stepping on a line here. I don't know. But she just looked, go look at that picture. It's all over the place right now. You know, log into fucking Twitter and scroll down for like, you know, a minute and you'll see it. But she is just fucking ghoulish in that picture. Let's see. Do you think Common Filth will ever go back to making videos? I wasn't even aware he quit. I haven't really watched his channel in a long time. Let's see. I had thought CF would do monthly videos, but still no CF. Yeah, it's news to me. Somebody says it's chick comedy. Yeah, most female comedians are just fucking awful. You know, I mean, as evidenced by the fact that what's the female comedian they push right now? Amy fucking Schumer. Somebody that had what, like 30 minutes of good material 10 years ago. That's the extent of what she's ever produced. Let's see. What did SJWs get upset about in FE Echoes? They gave them their gay character for. I don't know what that is. Sorry. SJW, but you know what? I don't even need to know what that is to answer your question. SJWs got upset because that is what the fuck they do. They cannot be happy. They are incapable of it. Back during Anita Sarkeesian's height of power, I used to always say you could easily win a debate with her by simply, insisting that she tell you exactly what the fuck she wants. They don't want anything. They just want to fucking piss on things. Let's see. Somebody says watching CF is like looking into the abyss. It's not good for your health. Yeah, I think, honestly, I just think he got burned out doing what he does. And that's. He said, by the way, Bechtloff, you should check out Fire Emblem. Okay, that's what you were saying. Echoes is a great game. I never got into the Fire Emblem series. Somebody says Fire Emblem Bechtloff, or weeaboo shit, as you affectionately call it. Yes, that's those goop tunes, right? That's those anime. That's the anime dudes that are in Smash Brothers. Is that what they are? So he says, all of us on the right are social justice warriors as well. It's just that what we fight for is lawful, just, and fair. No, I don't even think that's fair, because we are capable of being satisfied. All right. No, you always try and make things better. There's a point at which you would be sufficiently satisfied and you'd like stop being that politically minded and you'd go about living your life. That's not them. See, now don't get me wrong. There's plenty of people like that on the right. There is a real danger in having this mentality where you always have to look for a dragon to slay. If your worldview is built off of fighting evil, real or perceived, rather than attempting to build up good, primarily, you're going to fall into that problem. Islam falls into that problem. Some of the religious right, moral fag types will fall into that problem as well, where you never be satisfied. Like, any one of these groups that I'm pointing out here, these sort of always got to slay a dragon groups. If you could magically, you had Q from Star Trek powers, and you could magically make a whole other planet Earth. It's on the opposite side of the sun at all times. So same exact orbit. We're never going to hit it, kind of thing. It's perfect replica of planet Earth. And you could just, let's say the Muslims, just give it to them. Transport all the Muslims there and say, there you go. Make your paradise on Earth. 5 years tops. It's going to end with one dude on a mountain of skulls who eats a bullet. Because you're always looking for the dragon to slay. Somebody famously said, and it was a commenter somewhere, I don't know who said it, I would love to take credit for it, but I can't, that the end goal of social justice is to see the last human skull bashed up against a rock for being more privileged than the rock. And I don't think a lot of people on the right are like that. I think a lot of people on the right just want to get things back to a fucking sane level, Now, there are some on the right who just always have to chase a dragon to slay. That's not a good way to live, my friend. Let's see. So he says, you got to love those Goop tunes. Hey, I'm not a big fan, if I'm being honest with you. We on the right believe in justice. We don't need to put another word in front of it like social. Yes, if social justice was justice, they would just call it justice. Looks like the chat's kind of stopped. Huh. Is this frozen or is everything still going? Pardon me. Sorry, dead air. I got to take a drink. I tell you, it really has been fun watching that Matoker video blow up. I knew it would. Hell, I knew it would 2 years ago when he kind of hinted around to doing this. But man, it's been fun to watch it blow up. Oh, by the way, shout out. I've been getting really into a channel lately called Act 17 Apologetics, particularly David Wood. I really like his stuff. I actually watched a rather heavy video of his of how he was in and out of mental institutions and jail. Even the guy was basically a sociopath before he came to Christ. To the point where, he even to this day admits, he has a difficult time processing emotions. But really powerful arguments. He's especially incredibly hard on Islam, and that's fucking hilarious. He taunts like these fucking goat fuckers that'll send him death threats and stuff. It's just fantastic. Let's see. Somebody says, with Wonder Woman coming to theaters soon, what do you think of pro-IDF Israeli actress Gail Gadot? I don't know anything about her, to be honest. I really enjoyed her in Batman vs. Superman. The Wonder Woman parts of that movie were probably some of the few really good parts of it. And as I said, I'm cautiously optimistic about Wonder Woman. It was funny, too. One of these, because, there was that controversy where the theaters were doing the female-only showings. The double standard, of course. If you did a men's-only showing, the feminists would cry fucking wolf for days. Cry bloody murder. But one of these fucking male feminists was all like, and he actually said this, well, no, we're doing this because it's important, because this is the first female superhero movie. You're wrong. You're wrong, you fucking hipster. And if you actually were a fucking real superhero fan, a real, expert on this genre that you claim to be, you bandwagon hopping fucking hipster, pardon me, then you might know that there was a theatrical Supergirl movie back in the 80s, spinning off from the Christopher Reeve Superman movies. So no, this is not the first female superhero movie. And indeed, if you want to get real technical, I'm sure there were fucking other ones I could think of earlier. If you want to get back to golden age of fucking movies. Although sometimes those were just serials and all whatnot, but I'm sure there was probably something along those lines. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a Wonder Woman movie is pretty important for comic book fans. It's kind of astounding such a thing hasn't happened sooner. This is one of DC's most important characters, and I mean, for fuck's sake, Swamp Thing has had more of a mainstream push over the years than Wonder Woman. I mean, hell, he had what, like 2 or 3 movies and a TV show and a cartoon. Let's see. Marvel got shit for putting Captain America in their tweet for Memorial Day when they had him be a Nazi. Well, that's why you don't ruin your fucking characters, I guess. Let's see. John Steele says, apparently Chelsea Clinton and the Church of Satan have both disavowed Kathy Griffin. CNN has not. Well, CNN is indeed worse than Satan. I think we can all agree that. To literally be the devil's advocate for a moment, yes, CNN is worse than the devil. I hope in the next few years comics get turned around. It really is a shame how much Marvel's run itself into the fucking dirt. Oh, I must say, if you're looking for a comic book to read, and I'm surprised it's this good, but there is a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers comic book over at Boom, and it is fantastic. And I was never a huge Power Ranger fan as a kid. I was just maybe a touch too old for it when it came out. I don't know, maybe 10 or 11. I was just a touch too old for it. And it was on constantly, and like friends would watch it. I'd catch it. I was kind of familiar with it, despite not even really liking it. It was just on so damn much. I liked a little bit of it, like when the Green Ranger first showed up. I thought that was kind of interesting. He was a bad guy at first, and they kind of broke the villain spell they had over him. It was an interesting little thing, but by and large, I never got into the show. But I was familiar with it. Well, I checked out the Boom Power Ranger comic when it first came out on a whim. Really liked it, but then kind of just fell out of it. Recently, I read the first trade paperback of it, and really good stuff. And I will say there's a Power Ranger Justice League crossover that's been going on for the past few months, little miniseries. I've been thoroughly enjoying it as well. So yeah, the Boom Power Ranger comic is surprisingly good. It's, I guess, better than really a Power Ranger comic has any right to be. It's kind of interesting to see what actual good writing is able to do with the concept. But yeah, if you enjoyed it as a kid, you have any kind of fond memories of Power Rangers, or hell, maybe even if you don't, you just kind of like superhero shit, then are sick of Marvel and DC right now. It's worth checking out. Let's see. People are fucking screaming in the chat. Let's see what we got here. Is Bechtloff going live every night now? Pretty much. Let's see. Let's see. Somebody's saying, where is Irini and Forney? And Zach the Bong Ripper says they are running from the law. Let's see. Jimmy Johnson, you might want to take it easy on the caps lock there, bud. Let's see. What else we got in the chat? Scroll through. Let's see. The SJWs are the way SJWs are. I can see why JonTron became a shitlord. Yes, the insanity of the left has pushed most of us further right than we were. I mean, I'm further right than I were. I would have just called myself a stone cold libertarian a few years ago, and now, I consider myself right wing with some libertarian leanings. But that's because I'm old enough to remember when libertarianism was about more than weed and buttholes. Let's see. Somebody says comics have become the new NFL. It's for cucks. I tell you what, Marvel sure is right now. Holy shit. Marvel is fucking horrendously bad anymore. Oh, man. DC is starting to pull its head out of its ass, but Marvel, holy shit. I mean, I just tend to like Marvel more than DC overall, but damn, is it bad now. Somebody actually said, like, it's almost like these past years, like Marvel and DC couldn't be fucking both good at the same time. It's like, as Marvel got more pause, as Marvel got so incredibly paused, DC pulled its head out of its ass. So if Marvel starts to get good, maybe DC will get paused again. But yeah, they're in rough fucking shape. Bechtloff, do you have any skills in writing code? I do not. I have no fucking skills in writing code. If I did, I might make like fucking ROM hacks or something, to be honest. I've always loved ROM hacks. So, and I have ideas for a few, but I don't know how to fucking code or anything worth shit. I couldn't begin to figure out how to actually do one. Let's see. Bechtloff is now 1488. No, I'm not quite 1488. As I've said on here numerous times, race matters, but it's not all that matters. And sometimes trying to get the simple fact of the matter of trying to say that something is important but not that important can be like pulling teeth. Yesterday I was talking about, on Twitter and on here, I think too many alt-right Christians put too much of an emphasis on church architecture being so important, when to me that should be a tertiary design. And everyone's like, whoa, architecture up. Like, yes, it's nice to have nice buildings. I'm not disputing that. It's just not that damn important. Sometimes you can't get through to somebody that you're not totally disagreeing with them. You just think they overemphasize something. And it's that way with the 1488 crowd for me a lot. It's like, I can't, race matters. It really does, but I can't take that kind of absolutist stance you do. I really can't. Let's see. He says, what does Bechtloff think about Richard Spencer? I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. I think he's an attention-seeking faggot. Let's see. So Bechtloff, what do you miss about the 90s that is gone now? I don't know. The video store. I miss the video store. And I know everyone's like, oh, I got Netflix. I don't need the video store. Yeah, that's nice. I actually like to go out to do shit. That's kind of nice. I don't want to be in the house all the fucking time. And the video store was nice. I had a local one where I lived. And I loved it, man. There was like some failed fucking film student there at the counter or some shit. It was great. You could point you in the direction of stuff you never heard of, that kind of thing. I miss the arcade too. And the arcade in my area is not bad. It's not, great, but for an arcade in 2017, it's pretty damn okay. There's a Mario Kart machine there, which is really nice. You don't see the Mario Kart arcade stuff that much. Let's see. Somebody says, I think there's something deeply wrong with Spencer, and I don't mean gay. He strikes me as a spoil. Here's the thing. Let's compare two attention-seeking faggots we have here in kind of the alternative, dissident, new right, whatever the hell you want to call it, the broadest sense of the term. We got Milo and Spencer. There's two attention-seeking faggots for you. Now, and I'm not a big fan of Milo by any stretch, but Milo still looks like he has a little bit of light in his eyes. He seems like he's an attention-seeking faggot because he's just a bored hedonist who likes fucking with people. Spencer seems like he's an attention-seeking faggot because he's hollow inside. That is what I don't like about Spencer. He just seems hollow inside. There's no light in his eyes. I mean, I don't know if he's really a fag or not. I mean, he's foppish as all hell, but who knows? But yeah, there's just no light in his eyes. Let's see. If somebody was to say Spencer's is funded by Soros, I wouldn't be surprised. Well, I mean, I get that impression from some of these folks too. But I don't think that's what it is with Spencer. I think he constantly, lets the liberal media beat the shit out of him and edit things and, make him look like a fool because he's just too much of an attention slut to ever not take their bait. He should do the entirety of the alternative right. And again, I say that in the broadest sense of the term. Everyone from Richard Spencer to Alex Jones, everyone from Milo to, I don't know, fucking, what the hell, Ramsey Paul, whatever, all of them. All right. Anybody that is, not neoconservative on the right, should be taking Vox Day's advice, and that's don't talk to the leftist dinosaur fucking media. Don't give fake news the time of day. That's what really hurts them. That's what really drives them nuts. Look at how they freaked out when Trump didn't let them come to dinner one time. All right? That's what you do to the fucking fake news. You shun them. You don't give them the time of day. Period. They call you up. You say, I don't talk to fake news. Click. Hang up the fucking phone. Let's see. Somebody says, Bechtloff, where do you like to blow your load on a chick? Well, I don't know. I'm a gentleman. I usually let her pick, The tits are always a nice place to do that, but Bechtloff, good point. Not sure exactly which. Well said, Vox Day. Yeah. Yes. Follow Vox Day's advice. Anything new with Nintendo / video games? Well, the full trailer for Sonic Mania dropped today. It looks really good. E3 is supposed to be next week. I'll probably be covering that as time permits. Jimmy Johnson says, I guess put it in their pussy. I guess about blow nose. Well, I assume he meant if I wasn't trying to impregnate her. I mean, obviously, if you're attempting to impregnate her, there's only one spot you can fucking do that. That sort of narrows down the choices, doesn't it? Let's see. We need Christian morality on the alt-right. Yeah, I'll second that. There needs to be a revival. That's the only hope the West has. You know, the best you could say about something like Trump and growing right-wing shift is that it can buy us time. That's it. Sorry, somebody's blowing up my fucking cell phone. Like, I have it on silent, but it's honestly like it's over on the counter and it's just beeping and beeping and like the little lights blinking and blinking, I should say. And it's actually just distracting as hell. Somebody says the Pope will revive the faith. Ha ha ha. Oh, God. Don't even get me started on that piece of shit. Somebody says, what's happened with Sean Hannity? I don't know, but Joe Biggs was predicting he was going to be fired by the end of the week from Fox. So we'll see how that pans out. Sean Hannity exposed the death of Seth Rich. Yes, he was really pushing the Seth Rich narrative mainstream, and there's a lot of people attempting to punish him for it. Because, you know, we got to talk about the far more credible idea that Trump is actually Putin in a mask. They better not fire Hannity. Well, I mean, let me put it this way. Hannity doesn't need to work ever again. He's a wealthy enough man. He's still got his radio show. I don't think they'd fire him from that. And that's actually ABC, I think, that distributes that. That's a whole different company. But yeah, I don't believe like Sean Hannity will have no problem getting his name out there, getting his message out there. He'll stay on the radio at the very least. I mean, he'll be done on terrestrial television if he's off Fox, but that barely matters. Will you ever do a video on DSP or Brianna Wu like you did with Christian? I am still planning on doing more of the What Do You Know videos. I just got some good recording software that should hopefully help with that. Let's see. Oh, I actually have a video. I'm wanting to do an animated video, and I'm not going to spoil exactly what it is. It's just, if it becomes a series, it's just going to be kind of like old gaming stories mostly. And I was going to have Luke do some basic animations for it. I don't know how long that's going to take him. We'll see. But he said he was, going to do it. So I can't even like spoil. I don't even want to spoil it. I'll give you the title because the title is The Legend of Indiana Jones Mario. And it's just a couple minute little gaming story from when I was young and from when I was a wee lad. So Bechtloff doing anime. No, I don't believe that's what you call it. Somebody says, I'm personally looking forward to Mr. Matoka's video on Nostalgia Chick. Oh, yeah, that's going to be a ripper. No Gook tunes. No, there won't be any Gook tunes here. Thoughts on John McCain saying Russia is a bigger threat than ISIS? John McCain, I think Trump needs to have a talk with him. I think Trump needs to take him on a very special Marine One ride. No, seriously, this is the thing. Again, I find myself more and more wishing Trump was the monster that everyone makes him out to be. Can you imagine if he just called McCain into his office and he's like, John, have a seat here. Have a seat right here in your office. And he's like, and Trump just like pulls out a picture of like fucking John McCain's grandkids or something and was like, these are very beautiful grandkids, John. They may or may not have a bright future. But, accidents happen. Why don't you think about that for a while, John? Think about that before the next time you want to run your fucking mouth to the media. You're dismissed. Just do that. Just fucking do that. What's John McCain going to do? He's going to go on fucking CNN and say, the president threatened me. Nobody's going to fucking believe you. Nobody wants to believe. Nobody's. You're just going to make yourself look fucking more stupid. Somebody says, Bechtloff, would you accept Joel Osteen as the proper leader of the faith as opposed to the Argentine dickhead in the Vatican? Well, no. Both Joel Osteen and the current man in the Vatican are why I believe there is not a human leader of the faith, nor should there be. And by the way, I love that Catholics, every time, I go on after the Pope, they want to throw Joel Osteen in my face. Like anybody gives a fuck about Joel Osteen. Like, people aren't criticizing him all the time, denouncing him all the fucking time. That's the thing. I don't have to pretend like Joel Osteen's the fucking vicar of Christ or anything like that, all right? He's just a man and not much of one at that. Let's see. Somebody says, is it true that Luke is 7 feet tall? I have not met with Luke in person before, but from the people that have, yes, indeed, Luke is like the white fucking Shaquille O'Neal, apparently. Somebody says, I used to be a fan of Nostalgia Chick before she got really lazy and hardly... here's the thing. I liked Nostalgia Chick when I first discovered her. But I mean, like, within a month's time of catching a few of her videos here and there, going through her backlog, I was like, nah, fuck this chick. Yeah. Actually, no, that's not true. I kind of always knew she was like a fucking idiot leftist, but like I didn't realize at the time how unbelievably, like, I hadn't yet been exposed to real social justice warriors yet. I just knew she was a stupid fucking leftist. And it was like, I can't remember what it was, but it was sometime when I, like, on Twitter, like, politely fucking, I mean, I was polite, but, responded negatively to something she said on Twitter and got blocked instantly. And I remember kind of taken aback by that, because it just, I guess I was naive. I'm like, this person shits on things for a living and they can't give remotely like they take. That's fucking, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. And then when I really started digging into her more after that, I began to realize what a just hypocritical piece of shit she was. Let's see. Somebody says John McCain is about as zog as one can get. Yeah, you're not wrong. John McCain would have been more of a warmonger than Hillary. No lie, as bad as Barack Obama was, and I mean, he was, the worst president in generations. I believe John McCain would have been worse. John McCain is fucking insane. And he would, if he would ever had the chance, he would start all manner of conflicts. We would have no chance of winning. That we would outright lose. Never mind not even be able to win. Lord knows the United States picks tons of fucking fights we can't win because we can't even define what winning is. But no, that we would outright lose. Bechtloff, name a country John McCain doesn't want to bomb. Oh, you can't. Let's see. Keith Olbermann more sane than Glenn Beck discussed. I don't know. I'd put him on about an equal level if I had to. Clinton McCain 2020. Yeah, that's gonna be the ticket. I'll be shocked if she lives to 2020. McCain Kushner 2020. McCain wouldn't bomb Israel. There you go. That's the one country McCain would not bomb. Somebody says Beck had some good books, though. I guess referring to Beck versus Oberman. Yeah, well, Oberman sounded all right back when Bush was in power. He had a. Let me put it this way: Oberman still had a little bit of a point back then. Unsolicited opinions on Israel. Oh, geez, that fucking shit. That's what really got me with Marvel the last few years. It wasn't even the bullshit politics that they were pushing. It was the unbelievably amateurish and unprofessional way they were doing it. I mean, like, you make Captain Planet look like, subtle fucking nuanced storytelling. Nostalgia Chick's video on Pocahontas makes me shake my head. It's a Disney movie. They aren't being honest with that sort of history in a kids movie. Hey, well, fuck her. One of the morons she fucking had on swimming in her wake, working like at Shay's Apocalypse, back when that was a thing before she run it into the dirt, was this fucking faggot, and I mean that in a literal sense, Rantasmo, who he did a series Needs More Gay about how, this or that children's fucking franchise needs to have more faggots in it. Because it's always about the children with you guys, isn't it? Get them when they're young, huh? But he did a video where he talked, and I actually have a video response to it on this channel, I think. I think the response video is called because it is disgusting. So if you Google if you look up Bechtloff and because it is disgusting, you'll see the response video. I'm sure the audio is shit though, because I didn't even have a decent mic back then. So hope you don't mind a dull hiss in the background. I just like to think that hiss is the sound of Western civilization flatlining in the background. But anyways, his theory, he was talking about the trope, and you saw this a lot in comedies. Especially back in the day before fucking trannies were everywhere, where it was still this oddball thing to make fun of. And the trope is that a guy's banging a hot chick and he then finds out it's a tranny. Like, I think one of the Naked Gun movies did this, where you saw like a silhouette where the chick like disrobed and you could see like a big old dick hanging out. And the guy's like, oh, so disgusted, and he throws up and he runs away. That's the joke. Now, he's offended by this, Rantasmo, this faggot, because apparently it's confusing to him that a heterosexual man doesn't want a dick in his face. And it is fucking disgusting. That's the joke of it. Now, it is just a joke because little bit of reality here, Rantasmo. The vast fucking majority of trannies aren't even passable, let alone attractive. Very few of them look like fucking Blair White, where, you have to actually watch the mannerisms to catch on to what's going on there. Most of them look like fucking Brianna Wu or Sarah Butts, especially nowadays where you can just be a tranny without any fucking effort. Well, I'm a pretty lady now when you're hairier than fucking Chewbacca. But the joke is that, oh, you were banging this hot chick, but it turns out it's a dude. Ha ha, that's gross. That's the joke. Because it is fucking gross. Let's see. So he says, Bechtloff, what are your top 5 favorite movies? That's kind of a tough one. Shit, man. That's the sort of thing where you, like, that would be just different anytime you ask me almost. But I mean, one of the ones that have made like major impacts on me. Maybe there's better movies I've seen, but these are the ones that meant more to me. In no particular order, would be like Ghostbusters. 1989's Batman. Shit. Willow. Fuck yeah, Willow. I mean, these are movies mostly from my childhood that just sort of shaped my fucking imagination. You know what I mean? Again, not because they're the best movies in the world, but just because of what they meant to me. Sam Raimi's first Spider-Man movie. Oh, that was such a big deal to me. Nightmare on Elm Street. Let's see. See, again, there's plenty of movies I could point to that are better, but, again, the ones that mean something to me. Shit, man, I don't know. I'd have to really give thought to an actual, best movie. So he says Die Hard has to be up there. Oh yeah, Die Hard is fantastic film. Um, I'll I'll put it. I'll put both of these together. A Christmas Carol, the George C. Scott version. Not a fucking Christmas season goes by I don't watch it at least once. That is the best version of that story ever put to film. Um, kind of parallel to it, I would say Scrooged with Bill Murray. Um, just because it's like there's been tons of modern reinterpretations of Christmas Carol. This is the only really good one, though. Shit, though. Like I said, I'd have to give tons of thought to that, man. Yeah. So he says Devil's Advocate with Pacino. It's not a bad movie, but I mean, it's certainly not, um, one that, it means that great deal to me or anything. Let's see. Somebody says It's a Wonderful Life. Agreed with Scott's Carol. Yeah, it's interesting. It's a Wonderful Life. One of the reasons that became such a big cultural phenomenon is because for the longest time, no one had the rights to it. So it was free for stations to air, like little local stations. So they would play the hell out of it at Christmas time. That's actually how it got to be so huge. Yeah, man, I'd have to give that a lot of thought. Obviously, Gay Niggers from Outer Space. That's a big one. That very influential. Patton's pretty good. Patton's one of those though where it's like there's a few scenes in it I really like, but there's times where I think it kind of drags. Pardon me. I mean, the first Terminator, first RoboCop, those are great flicks. And again, I mean, movies that really just kind of shaped my imagination. Let's see. They just don't make great movies anymore. They really don't. One of the last movies I can remember watching and again, it's not like it's the greatest fucking thing ever put to film, but where it was a big deal was Avengers, the first Avengers. And that has more to do with, again, like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, the fact that I was seeing a Spider-Man movie in and of itself was a big deal to me at the time. Spider-Man was my favorite fictional thing, period. I could say that right up until One More Day. But the same thing with an Avengers movie, because, just a few years prior, I wouldn't have believed an Avengers movie was even possible because of the various rights issues involved in such a thing. So that was a big deal for me at the time. So he says, after the Star Wars movies went full cut, Back to the Future became the best trilogy, in my opinion. Yeah, Back to the Future. It's another one where, really shaped. You know what? One of the absolute best movies. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? That thing is a masterpiece of storytelling, in my opinion. That is the ultimate family movie. I mean, that is, the adults are transfixed, the kids are transfixed. It's so absolutely good. That is movie making at some of its finest, in my opinion. So he says they even ruined Indiana Jones, fucking boomers. I'll be honest with you. I mean, Indiana Jones 4 is hardly that good of a movie, but I don't view it as any worse than Temple of Doom. Let's see. Scrolling through here. John Steele says Schindler's List was his favorite comedy movie. Let's see. Now I have a machine gun. Ho ho ho. Yeah, Die Hard's damn good shit. Oh, Predator. Are you talking about another absolute classic? Predator is just fucking fantastic. Let's see. Casablanca. Yeah, it's a pretty good movie. Again, like I said, though, when you're asking me what are my personal favorites, just because of what generation I am is going to color that. And, you're talking about, movies that just shaped my, my imagination. There's Star Trek 2, prime example. That's a fantastic movie. That's certainly one of the high points of the entire Star Trek franchise. Let's see. Somebody says, speaking of insert faggotry on impressionable children, Cartoon Network. Oh boy. Oh yeah, I talked about that last night, where the one writer self-inserts himself into as a love interest for 5-year-old Blossom, because that's not creepy as fuck. Gary Busey in Predator 2 was good too. Predator 2 is not a bad movie. It's not as good as Predator 1, but it's not bad. It's got a bit of a bum rap. I can't believe I didn't even think of this, but you want to talk about best movies ever? Fucking Jurassic Park. Holy shit, did I love Jurassic Park. For the longest time, I would have told you that was my all-time favorite movie by a wide margin. Absolutely fantastic movie. Let's see. Somebody says, what about Debbie Does Dallas? Even in my heavy porn watching days, I've never actually seen that. I mean, I try not to really watch porn in general anymore, but I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. In the early to mid 2000s, I consumed a little bit of porn. But I never seen that. 1980s to the 1990s were some of the best decades for modern film. The 90s were considered a golden age of film. So many great movies. Yeah, there was a lot of good shit coming out of the 90s. I mean, the late 80s, early 90s, there was that Disney renaissance of films. What was it like? Animated movies like Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King. As far as I'm concerned, everything after Lion King 2D Disney's was shit. Mulan can go fuck itself. Hunchback of Notre Dame, go fuck itself. Pocahontas, go fuck itself. All those movies go fuck themselves. But Aladdin, really good. Aladdin's fantastic animated movie. Lion King's pretty damn good. Hell, Beauty and the Beast and Little Mermaid, I even liked as a little kid. I mean, they were kind of arguably more geared towards girls, but I still saw them in the theater and enjoyed them. Although Little Mermaid does kind of have questionable morality in it. I mean, Ariel fucks everything up, learns no lessons, and other people pull her ass out of the fire. You didn't like The Emperor's New Groove, Bechtloff? That I never even saw. Are you saying, Bechtloff, you don't want the Mulan Szechuan sauce? I didn't say that. I just said I don't want to watch the movie again. see. 70s TV Spider-Man was the best. I'd never seen that. I recently got a bootleg DVD of the Japanese Spider-Man, though, but I haven't had a chance to watch it. Like the Japanese live-action Spider-Man. RoboCop was awesome. Reboot sucked. I haven't seen the reboot. You know what reboot's not bad, and I'll be damned if I wanted to like it, is Nightmare on Elm Street reboot. Now don't get me wrong, it's got some problems. But I went into that movie absolutely wanting to hate it because I love the Freddy movies, even the ones that are awful. And I wanted no part of there being a reboot. But I enjoyed it. It definitely, see, the one thing it couldn't make up its mind, it seemed, on whether or not it wanted to go with the idea that Freddy was actually innocent or really was a child molester. So it kind of went back and forth on that, but let's see. Somebody says all the Spider-Man movies so far suck. No, I think 1 and 2 are pretty good. And 3 I don't think is as bad as everyone says. I wouldn't call it a particularly good movie, but it's not as bad as everyone says. What are your thoughts on Freddy versus Jason? I absolutely adored it. That movie really delivered on what it needed to be. I mean, hell, I never was a huge Jason fan, but it's one of the best Jason movies in my opinion. But then again, like I said, I wasn't a huge Jason fan. I think the best Jason movie is actually that. I guess it was a reboot, the recent Friday the 13th, a few years ago. But I don't even know if you could consider a reboot. I just considered it like a back to basics sequel. In my mind, it just took place right after Freddy vs. Jason. And I don't really see the reason it couldn't. Beyond that, though, because again, I'm not a Jason fan. My favorite movie is Jason X in that series because that movie is just fucking bananas. Like it just doesn't give a fuck anymore. It's like, yeah, Jason's gonna become Super Jason because of nanites, and then he's gonna fight a robot dominatrix in space. Sure, sign me the fuck up. That sounds great. Bechtloff, have you seen Spectacular Spider-Man, the cartoon I guess you're talking about? Yes, it's very good. It's a tough call on whether I like it better than the 90s cartoon. I'm going to say it's kind of slightly better. I don't like the art style, but I will grant them that a more stylized art style does allow for smoother animations. I don't like a lot of the villain redesigns in Spectacular Spider-Man. Actually, the reason the Vulture isn't green in that is because, strictly speaking, honest to God, the toy makers that were signed on with that said they don't want 2 different green characters because I guess Doc Ock was green, or Green Goblin, I guess, was the other one. Let's see. But Spectacular Spider-Man is very good. Let's see. I think Marvel's best cartoon, though, is Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Now, that's not to be confused with the Avengers Assemble cartoon that I think's running to this day. Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes ran right before Disney kind of bought Marvel and started doing their own cartoons. And it is fantastic. It's damn near like Justice League Unlimited good. Somebody says, what's your favorite superhero cartoon? Probably the 90s Batman. A very close second is the Justice League / Justice League Unlimited. Let's see. So he says, I like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. I don't understand the 8. I don't either. I mean, I think the subplot in the middle with him losing his powers was A, not well explained, and B, not needed. But other than that, good movie. Looks like the chat kind of stalled. Yeah, how long have we been going on here? Time is it even? 8:30. Yeah, we went on for about an hour. I guess I'll probably wrap this up then. Somebody says Van Helsing was pretty good. If good CGI doesn't necessarily make a good movie, then bad CGI shouldn't necessarily make a bad. Honestly, when I first saw the trailer for Van Helsing, like I don't even remember what movie I was watching when it popped up, but like I'm watching the trailer, and I'm honestly thinking to myself, before like the title of the movie comes out, I'm like, is this a Castlevania movie? Because sign me the fuck up. And you know what? It turned out it kind of was. Somebody says, have you seen Static Shock? Yeah, I used to watch Static Shock. It was pretty good. Oh, right. Well, I'm probably going to go ahead and wrap this up then. Everybody, thanks for listening. If you appreciate the show, do check out Tip Jar. Tips of any size are greatly appreciated. And as I've said numerous times, it's good to support the alternative media you like. And I don't mean just me, just whatever you enjoy. Support them, and that keeps them doing what they're doing. And Lord knows, tips of any size are greatly appreciated, particularly right now for me. So, enough e-bagging there. Tip jars down there below if you appreciate the show. And that's all we got for tonight, folks. I'm not sure if I'm going to do one tomorrow night. I got some stuff I'm going to be taking care of, but we'll see. We'll see how things go. But probably Thursday I'll do one. And obviously the Saturday show continues. And next week is E3, so I'm thinking of doing some stuff, some coverage of that throughout the week. So yeah, that's all we got for tonight, folks. Thanks for listening. Bechtloff out.